Hi everyone, welcome back to Sew Talk, a little weekly segment that I've come up with here on the channel, the Dahlia Sewciety, where I talk about what I've been up to this week, what I've been sewing, what I'm liking, what I'm doing around the garden. So it's a good time to get a cuppa and have a catch up and a chat with me. Now, I'm out in my little courtyard area. We've been very busy out in the garden. I'm going to let you know all about what we've been doing. The last few days have been very rainy, but we have had a few sunny days that have really been lovely to get outside. So the rainy days I've spent doing quite a lot of sewing. Before I get into what I've been sewing, I'm wearing a wind cheater or a jumper that I made last year. This is the Nielsen Jarrah sweater. The reason I love this so much, of course, is the beautiful fabric. This was lovely sweatshirting fabric from Sewciety Fabrics. They had it last year and it's called the Liberty Linford sweatshirt fabric. It's got a beautiful fleecy interlining and it is quite pricey. And the way I get around that is I actually used a plain fleece sleeve binding and just use it for the front and the back. I think it works really well because it allows you to use that nice little piece of fabric to really show it off a little bit of a statement and still incorporate it into your wardrobes. Now, there are a few birds out today. You may hear we've got some galahs flying over. We've had quite a bit of wildlife here this week. I know a lot of my viewers are very keen to hear about the wildlife that we have here. I'm in a very small little country town that's about 100 k's from Melbourne, southeast Gippsland area. We're about 1 kilometre away from a beach that's mainly mud. There's not a lot of sand there, but the area that I'm in is maybe about a 500-metre walk up the road. We've got a lot of bushland and we do get a lot of wildlife. We've had echidnas here in our yard burrowing and digging. We've had wombats. We do have a lot of birds and we've had some beautiful king parrots this week that have visited the house. They usually come in groups of 3. They're amazing big birds. They're around about 45 centimetres high, which is quite large. They're a beautiful bird to look at and I've got a bit of a film of them. I just love it when the birds visit. We do have a lot of kookaburras around this area as well. We have a lot of rosellas, which are beautiful bright coloured birds too. So that's one thing I do love about living out in the country a little bit. Meg, you'll see her running around. They taunt her, the birds. They love taunting her, but she'll just run around all day chasing birds. But we have a lot of cockatoos that fly over as well. We have the black cockatoos and the white. We have galahs. So there's a lot of bird life here. And over in the bushland that is near us, sometimes we do sight little wallabies, which are little miniature kangaroos that like living out there as well. And in the summertime or spring and summer, there are also a lot of snakes, so you have to be very careful where you're walking. I do know Mum up the road, she's had one in her garage that's a big tiger snake that leapt out at her once, so they're not really what you want to have around the home. You're best just to leave them alone and they'll scurry off on their way. They are protected. We try and keep out of their way and they keep out of our way. A bit of excitement here this morning in Melbourne. We have had a little earthquake. Well, it's actually quite a large earthquake in the terms of what we have as far as earth tremors. We don't have big earthquakes as such here, but earth tremor, I think it was 6 on the Richter scale, which I know a lot of the Kiwis over in New Zealand will be laughing at that because they contend with those all the time. But for us here in Melbourne, we don't get them very often. I think the last one we had was over 10 years ago and it wasn't anywhere near as long or as quite as kind of strong as that on the Richter scale. I do remember being a child growing up and you'd have them every now and again, little tremors, but this morning the bottles were rattling, there was jars rattling and you can feel the wall shaking. It was quite unnerving to kind of experience. But yeah, I know everyone's talking about it online and on Twitter and whatnot. And I've had a few people message me to ask me if we are okay. Yeah, we're fine. I did have someone ask about some chook footage of my new chickens that we rescued. They were battery hens that were like laying hens, Isa Browns, that were in little cages, and the lady that runs a animal welfare shelter just up the road from us, she gets sometimes truckloads of them to rehome, and we took 4 of them and donated some money to her little charity there, which is fantastic. And yeah, they've been laying eggs, which is really lovely to have the chooks back again, and it has been thoroughly fox proof. There is no way the foxes are going to get into that pen. We lock them up at night, so yeah, it's nice to have them around the house again. So what I've been sewing this week, well, I have been sewing quite a lot. I've actually done 1, 2, 3, 4 things since I spoke to you guys last, which is really nice when you get that kind of sojo happening again. And I've got a little list of things I'm running through and making. The My Sodas dress came up beautiful. I'm going to have pics of all this next week for my September makes to show you all. The long vintage 70s style My Sodas dress, it's come up a treat. I've done a lot of modifications to it. I've changed the sleeve, what the pattern had. I've added some waist ties to give it some shaping as well. So I'm really excited to show you the pics for that one. I've also made, or in the middle of making, the Melba dress from Stylark. Now, it does say on the instructions that if you're using a ponte or a thicker kind of fabric, to maybe use a light weight lining for the inside. Now, I've been having a bit of trouble with figuring that out, because really, unless you get something that's similar kind of weight to the ponte, it's going to either be too much given the fabric or not enough, because ponte is that kind of stable knit. It's really hard to find something that's going to sit nicely with it. So I've actually adjusted the interlining to become more of a facing. And I did do a bit of research on, a lot of people have had that same issue, that they found it was too thick for the lining if they're using a ponte. I've done a little facing on the sleeve and a facing around the neck, so I've omitted that larger kind of facing. But I think you could possibly still do it if you're using a woven. I think the linen in that would be beautiful, and you could possibly still do the lining, no problem at all. But I've got to say, so far I'm loving the dress, how it's coming up. It's a really unusual shape, and last year I made the Sydney designer dress from Stylark. Love the shape of that too. I just think they've really got something good going with their drafting and their unusual cocoon style shape dresses. They really do know how to get that fit right, and I love that relaxed fit style dress. It's something you can dress up or dress down, because I don't always want to wear an overly fitted dress. So I find that if I can find something that's comfortable, has a bit of style to it, a bit of a style line there, and you can dress it up or down depending on your footwear, I love that kind of thing. So I really love the linen they've made it in as well in the pics. But my ponte one, I'm very, very happy with how it's coming up. So I've made a size 14. It's got plenty of room, plenty of ease. I think I could easily have sized down to the 12, but I love the fit. I think the 14 is perfect. And you could also quite easily use bindings around the neck and the sleeve if you're put off by putting a lining into it. So loving how the Melba's coming up. The next thing I'm about to do is trace off a pattern, which is the assembly line pattern. It's the cuff dress. Now, this is actually my daughter's pattern. I'll show you the line drawings on that too. It is a lovely dress. She's made one for herself, and it comes up very, very big. If you have a look at the finish garment measurements, I think I could quite easily get down to a small to medium, because I know with hers it is quite a large oversized dress. It's very easy to make, and it really is lovely with that kind of cinched in waist of the elastic. Very comfortable. She's made it in a double gauze in a black last year, but I'm thinking of using up one of my mini rayons. And I love that you can layer that one as well and have it worn for all seasons too. So Assembly Line, such a great pattern company. They've got some really unique Scandi designs. They've got a brand new pattern coming out next week called the V-neck coat. Now that's like a duster style length coat. I love that. And talking about chic looking things, I had to let you guys know that I have been ogling Tezuti's designer end cuts of fabric. My goodness, if you have got a large budget and you don't mind splurging on designer fabrics, you'll find the most beautiful designer end fabrics they have just released this week. I've got to let you know, they are not bargain price fabrics. They are very, very high-end fabrics. You've got things like Missoni, Valentino, Dolce & Gabbana, Armani as well. Some beautiful designer and fabrics there that I am just dreaming of, because the prints are amazing. A lot of pure silks as well there. So if you want to go ahead and have a little look on Sewciety and have a little dream, I'm sure you will envisage up some beautiful garments there. Getting back to Style Out Patterns, they do have a 25% off their patterns at the moment. If you spend $25 and more, you do get 25% off their patterns, which I love. I've got quite a few Style Out patterns there ready to go. I'm about to make the Barry pants, which I love. Everyone love the bob pants, but the Barry pants look a little bit more up my alley as far as style goes. And also that Belle designer dress, I am dying to make that too. Another thing I'm working on at the moment in a boiled wool from Darn Cheap Fabrics, a gorgeous coloured mauve lilac coloured boiled wool, is the Leon jacket. Now I've been calling it the Lion jacket. Of course it's Leon, the place, of course, because most of Sewciety patterns are named after towns and cities. So it's the Leon jacket, not the Lion jacket. My daughter always shakes her head and says, Mum, how did you not figure that out? I'm like, yeah, I know. It's pretty much in your face. But I love this jacket. It's coming up a treat. You need to have little press studs. Love the fit of this. It's got really unusual darts on the shoulders as well. And it's a really simple make. If you loved sewing with boiled wool and having those overlapped seams, like most of their jackets and coats, the Berlin is another one of those. You'll love the Leon jacket too. So that one is almost finished for you guys to look at next week on my September makes. Loving that one. It's like a little kind of in between a cardigan and a jacket, so it's got a casual feel but very easily dressed up as well. Some more things I'm planning on working on. I've got some fabric here, some beautiful fabric I showed you last week that was from Fabric Hunt. And also Pattern Scissors Frock had sent me this beautiful cotton jacquard fabric as well. So both of these are quite weighty cotton knits, and I'm thinking about making the Pattern Emporium Entice Me dress. Now that's a really simple style straight cut dress, like a tube style dress that you can use amazing number of necklines and sleeves and cuts. You can also do add-on hacks as far as a cowl back goes with that. There are maternity hacks as well on the dress if you're needing that, but I love that. I'm thinking of making a couple of simple style Entice Me dresses from these fabrics, because I think these fabrics are so beautiful just on their own. I'll show you up close, that they need a pattern that is going to showcase not just the kind of texture and weight of the fabric, but also the intricate details in there as well. And I don't want them to get hidden in an overly complicated pattern. I think a simple pattern for those will really work well. So that's another thing. I'm just looking at patterns, of course, and weighing up my options. Whether I go for a puff statement sleeve or a simple kind of t-shirt style dress is another option there. So that's on the cards. And also this beautiful Lady McElroy fabric from Fabric Hunt as well, that was sent to me from beautiful Cherie. That is going to be some kind of blouse. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do the March blouse maybe by Helen's Closet, or maybe the Heron blouse. I'm really undecided on what to do with that now, but that is going to be a beautiful little spring style blouse to wear, and especially with the mauve color, lilac color boiled wool jacket that I've made from Sewciety, I think it's going to come up really nice with that too. So suggestions, I want to know what you guys think I should make with that fabric. I really think a vintage style blouse would set it off perfectly. So if you've got something you think will work well, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I loved hearing about all of your suggestions last week for the favorite shirt style or shirt that grew style dress. In the comments after that episode, I wrote every single one of them down, and a lot of you also messaged me on Instagram. If you haven't followed along on Instagram yet, that's a great way to see what I'm up to through the week. You can see little short stories and things like that, but I do post on there quite regularly. But I had a lot of people message me and give me ideas on their favorite shirt style dresses. So I'm going to let you know the favorite ones that I've picked out. I've actually ordered about 3 or 4 from Spotlight. They did have a little sale on their patterns, so they'll be coming next week. The indie pattern I've chosen, which a lot of you have loved, is the named Rita shirt dress. It's got a beautiful drawstring style waist, a camp style collar. That is going to be beautiful in some linen silk fabric that I have from Cloth Edit. So that's coming, and Cloth Edit also do stock the name paper patterns as well if you're wanting to order one of those. But the suggestions I have had here, I will read out. The Rita by Named was suggested by Sharon Webster. That is apparently a beautiful dress on. Christy Lynn Dose actually suggested the Gilbert by Helen's Closet hacked into a shirt dress. Now, I know that Helen does have a blog for that if you're wanting to see how she's done it. She's done a wonderful looking hacked dress. You can open up like a dusted jacket as well. Tracy Frost has actually suggested the gallery tunic, and I've made the gallery tunic in the shirt style but not in the dress style, so that's another one I'm thinking about doing. Michelle from McCalls Sews again. Hi, Michelle. She has suggested the Cali shirt dress, and I do already have that pattern. I haven't made it up before, so that's another suggestion to be made. We've got Irene Gibbard has suggested the Sew Over It vintage shirt dress. Now, when I first started sewing, I was sewing a few vintage style patterns, more fitted things. That was one I did make, and it did come up a lovely dress. It is a bit more fitted around the waist than what I was after, but I think you could easily lengthen that into like an A-line midi style dress. Would be beautiful as well. It is a great fitting dress. Sydney shirt dress from Sew to Grow is another favorite shirt dress of mine because it's got no buttons. If you are scared off by buttons, think about doing the Sydney because you've got that shirt style dress there. It is amazing on. There's also the Wardrobe by Me Savannah tunic style shirt dress. And then you've got the designer stitch Sedona dress. So they are my top picks for indie shirt dresses. If we're looking at big four shirt dresses, Polly, of course, from the Sewing Edit. Hi, Polly. She has suggested a wonderful McCalls pattern called the Josie, which I've ordered that. It's coming from Spotlight. Now, Lynette has actually suggested the Simplicity 8014, which is a beautiful shirt style dress, especially made up in a chambray or a denim. Belinda Cronwhite from Cape Town, she's actually suggested the McCalls 4769, which was a pattern from 2005, a very classic style shirt dress, but one that's still around. So definitely a great style shirt dress. We've got Six Pointed Petals from Instagram has sent me a message with the Butterick 6813. It's actually a top or a blouse style, but she said it's beautiful if you lengthen it, give it that shaping. It's got a wonderful little like waist side tie, so I think that would be beautiful as well. Jeanette Swedlove has actually suggested the Burda Plumetis 140 dress. Now this one I'm very, very keen to make. I haven't made any Burda patterns before, but I do know that the people that do make them absolutely love them and love the fit of them. The Burda patterns would be really interesting to try, and I love the look of their aesthetic there. If you look on their website, there's so many beautiful patterns done in beautiful fabrics as well. They do give you a lot of inspiration. Now, Patricia has sent me also some suggestions on my channel here. The first one's a Butterick 1941 dress that's a 6282. She loves that one. She also loves the Vogue 9933, which is a 1960 shirt dress. Meg, no birds. And the other was a 1997 Butterick 4892 pattern. So these are favourite ones from viewers that I love getting suggestions because it really lets me know that things have come up nice when they've been sewn. It really does give you a good heads up and a bit of inspiration there, because it really can be overwhelming just looking through catalogues of patterns and numbers and not know how they're going to come up and what they're going to look like. So I'm going to show you the ones I've picked next week's episode when they do come in the mail, and see what you think about what I've chosen. Also, I've had a wonderful email from Melinda, and she has suggested a brand new fabric store that she loves. I think it was from Queensland. It's called Hab and Fab. Now, they do have some great fabrics on there to look through as well. I love hearing about any new fabric stores. So if you know of a fabric store here in Australia that I haven't mentioned before and you want to share it with the viewers, please either email me or direct message me through Instagram, or even comment on underneath the episode here and let me know of a favorite fabric store that you love shopping with that also provide great online service as well. Especially I love it when there's international shipping. Sometimes a lot of the viewers from overseas can also then inquire and get things sent over A couple of hellos and thank yous. I want to say a big thank you to the lovely Stacey, one of my viewers. Stacey's daughter Lily has actually drawn a beautiful Dahlia flower and sent me a get well card, or picture of the card after the surgery I had, which is really lovely. Her daughter's called Lily, and so is one of mine. My youngest daughter's called Lily as well, so we actually had that in common. But the wonderful, gorgeous drawing that she's done of the Dahlia, I just think is incredible. So thank you so much to Lily and to Stacey. Another one of my wonderful viewers, Marissa, who also speaks to me on Instagram quite often. I want to say a big congratulations to her. Come here, Meg. Because she has just completed her 20th round of radiation. She's just recently had a lump removed from her breast and gone through 20 rounds of radiation. So she's really celebrating at the moment. I just think well done to her. What an amazing thing to get through that the moment, especially being in lockdown and having to go through so many rounds of radiation would be no easy feat. So I think she's incredible and strong and a wonderful, lovely, caring person. So well done to Marissa. So I think sewing is great because it does help you keep motivated and keep busy when you've got things going on like that can be very, very hard to keep the spirits up. So it's great she's gotten through the 20 rounds. It's another thing she can just tick off the list there and keep going on with things. Now, I know a lot of you viewers have got your own challenges at the moment, and maybe you find sewing a great escape, or even just watching episodes. I know myself, I love getting on YouTube and looking up different episodes to maybe keep myself motivated and keep the mind busy. The one channel I found this week on YouTube that I'm loving, of course, you guys will know I love my garden. I love pottering around. Called The Middle Sized Garden. It's a UK YouTube channel that talks about all different variety of things as far as gardening. Love the content they've got there. Some great episodes, information about how to grow things like dahlias. Another love of mine is a hydrangea. I love hydrangea flowers and plants. So I love having that information there to look back on and maybe binge watch all of their past episodes. And we've been out planting this week. We just planted a few bits and pieces. There's some sweet peas that are crawling up my trellis that I've got planted in pots. We've also done a little rockery. Hubby's done a great little garden screen at the back here just beside me. I'll show you some footage of that in a sec. And also some little succulents I've planted in the ground. I've got some lilium bulbs planted in pots there, and I do know they are toxic to cats, so I'll make sure our cats are all indoor cats. The dog doesn't get near those either, but they are another one of my great loves for planting. Liliums I just think are absolutely beautiful. So just doing a little bit of pottering around. We've got some seedlings there to plant, just all the little cottagey style flowers. I'm loving getting those in the ground and getting plenty of rain so that then I can get everything looking nice for our spring and summer. I hope you've enjoyed that today. If you have, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. That does help other people like you find the channel. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do that. And if you want to be notified every time a new episode comes out, you need to hit that little notification bell and it will remind you when I've posted a new episode. Thanks so much for watching. Keep motivated and keep sewing, and we'll see you very shortly for a Makes episode. Bye for now.